Right, we good? We ready?
Yes. Don't miss.
Watch this. Oh, it's good.
Oh, I thought that was in. I'm all nervous now that it's being filmed.
Oh yeah, you were smashing it before as well. Every one.
That's terrible. What are you doing having a run up?
Hold ya. Oh.
Oh, wait, did that count? We didn't discuss the rules, but surely that's been the closest yet. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. We could be here a while otherwise.
Right, I'm having left-hand side.
Oh, sweet, I wanted the right-hand side anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
Wicked. Right, okay,
Cool.
let's start fishing.
Easy. See you later.
Now that's sorted, we can jump right in.
Nestled in the heart of a small Slovenian town surrounded by rolling pine forests lays Lake Kacheria.
At 90 acres, it holds a staggering number of carp, all shapes, sizes and colours, with a handful over the magical £50 mark. Oh, and an 80-pounder.
Our aim though? To beat our personal best in this little slice of Slovenian paradise.
Welcome to Slovenia. I can't quite believe we're finally here. It was a very long journey yesterday, but now things are in progress. What we're doing at the moment, Henry's on the bait boat. The lake itself is massive. I don't actually know exactly how many acres it is. I'd guess about 90 acres. And it is really, really deep in places, well over 100 foot. So rather than muck about loads with a marker float, the bank is just far too steep to be pulling a marker float and trying to find an area. So we're using the boat, the aid of the echo sounder, and all we're trying to do at the moment is find an area that's relatively flat. The initial things, what we can see on here, look at that, Henry, really, really deep as we're coming down the sort of marginal shelf. Yeah, and there's potentially fish on the fish finder there as well. It's always a promising sign, means we're not gonna be fishing far out. So all we're doing now with the boat is trying to find an area that looks good on the echo. We're gonna pop a marker float out to where we think it is, make sure it comes up near the boat, and then what I'm gonna do is grab the little boat we've got, go out there with a H block, and I'm gonna use that as if I would a marker lead and just bob it up and down, investigate the bottom, see what we're working with. As far as I'm aware, it's quite a sandy bottom, so I'm not too worried exactly what's gonna be on the bottom, but what we wanna avoid is that sheer cliff face, which seems so obvious. We wanna find an area that's quite flat, and I think we're gonna focus all our attention to that. So it's... I
think this is it, I think we found it.
Yeah, it's looking interesting. Like, this is a little bit more consistent now, what we're finding, because the initial part when you go out, it is savage, I reckon. What do you reckon, 2 rod lengths and you're probably in 20 foot?
Yeah, it just goes straight away.
Yeah, and yeah, I see you taking a boat a bit further then, and it was well into 50 foot, and it's 20 degrees. So yeah, we're gonna muck about with this for a bit, get a marker flow out, and then I'm gonna go out and investigate a little bit more from the boat.
With the use of a boat, a H-block marker, and a lead, I found a spot that we were both happy with. So I was on the left of the swim and Henry was on the right.
The spot was at 50 yards range, making it fairly easy to fish to.
Although it was only 50 yards, it was already 30 foot deep, showing how quickly the margins dropped off. That was why it was so important to be fishing on the small shelf we had found, so we were presenting effectively.
We would concentrate all 4 rods on this one area, working as a team to build the spot and hopefully draw the fish into the zone.
It was then just a case of getting the dot spot rods clipped up nice and accurately and getting the bait established.
Well, we've finally found the spot we're happy with. It's taken a little bit of time, but that's okay. We're here for quite a while, so we need to make sure it is bang on. And like Alf said, it's nice, that nice sort of flat area where we know the bullies aren't going to roll away. There's not too much going on out there, so the feature we've got to make is with the bait. There's a lot of fish in here, a lot of big fish, a lot of hungry fish, and you get into that time of year now where the water temperatures start to drop. I mean, it's quite warm today, but at night it's been going down to single figures, so the carp are aware of that. They're going to want to feed up in preparation for winter. The best thing for that is lots of good quality bait, and we've got that in abundance with Scopet squid. That's what we're going for, nice and simple, lots and lots of boilies, and yeah, that's the plan. We're going to go out there now, put a big hit in to start with, and we're hoping that that is what draws the fish in. Like we said, there's not much of a feature out there. The bait's going to be the feature. And then from then, we're going to start spotting a bit of bait in. Hopefully that sound brings them in. You know the old saying, ring the dinner bell. That's the plan. On that note, See you later.
Hang on. That's my life jacket, which I organised. And you, because I knew you wouldn't sort anything out, as usual, with your COVID test, this is your one. So you can use that.
It doesn't look inflated.
It's an adult. Well, blow it up then. That's a terrible bit of banter, really, isn't it? But I did spend a lot of money. I spent a lot of
Did you do this on purpose?
Yeah,
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right, I'll wear that. I will wear that. That's all right.
Give.
Okay.
No, not that. My one.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There you go.
As you've actually
You won't
got
get lost. You won't get lost out there now.
you did say to me as well, you
I know what you're falling straight away, and that self-inflating gas canister will be gone within 2 minutes of being here, and then we won't be able to go out in the boat.
How do I do this?
Work it out. I think it suits you.
This is great television. Just watching me struggle trying to put this on. This style of fishing is a little bit, I wouldn't say alien to me, but it's not what my first choice, what I'd do if I was angling for myself or angling on waters back in England. I like to sort of go after fish, find them, make the opportunity myself, whereas here you're building a feature, you're hoping the fish come over to you. So it's something I have done before, but it's not something that I favourite. But I know Alf's a big fan of it, so I'm sort of leaning on him a little bit at times to get the best out of it. I think we're going to work really well as a pair. I think that the main thing here is just getting that bait in consistently. And once the fish have found it, once you start getting bites, is to keep that bait going in and keep that spot being a spot for them. Once that bait runs out, for me, I feel like that's it. You're gonna have to start from scratch again. So a big thing's gonna be keeping that bait going in. On top of that, I don't really think rigs are a huge thing. I've just gone for slip these because I love them. I know they work. They're gonna nail the carp. They're strong enough to deal with these big fish that are in here, and there are some really big fish in here. So the main thing for me, the main thing I'm focusing on is once we get those bites, is to keep that bait going and keep it topped up, and just hopefully the fish get there sooner, because I think the sooner they get there, the more we'll be able to build that swim up and have sort of a longer successful period. Until we get that first bite, I think it's going to be, feeling a little bit nervous. Once you get that first bite, that's it, it's game on. You are joking. Who did that?
What did he do?
Someone's put it in the clip like straight away.
Done it by itself.
Very funny, Alf. With the fun and games hopefully set aside for now, we concentrated on getting everything perfect. We sent the rods out to the zone before finally kicking back and relaxing on our first evening in Slovenia.
I've got to say, it feels amazing. Right now, this moment, it feels very relaxing, very stress-free. It's been a long time coming, this trip, a lot of planning with Alf, sort of figuring out what we're going to do. Then for big European trips like this, there's so much gear to sort out. Then the huge drive. It's felt like it's always been quite far away, this trip. Even when we got here yesterday, it still felt like a while till we start fishing. Now that the rods are out, everything's sorted, it feels fantastic. We've got the food on the go, rods are out, we're seeing fish top all over the place. Yeah, it just feels absolutely fantastic.
After watching the sunset on our first day and the carp topping late into the evening, we were both full of anticipation for the night ahead. Despite feeling confident going into the night, I was surprised when I received a bite in the early hours of our first morning here in Slovenia. I was off the mark, and with a good one at that.
Don't feel too bad. Oh, yeah. 45.8?
Yeah, I'd say
You can see better. What's it saying? Go on. You make the call.
Yeah, 45.8.
45.8.
45.8. Well done. Good start. Well done, mate.
Welcome to Slovenia. My first fish of the trip, and to be honest, I cannot believe this is my first one. 45 pound of Slovenian magic. Woke up this morning, it was really foggy, could barely see a thing. And usually you don't associate that with good fishing conditions, but the left-hand rod was away and now the sky is cleared. It's a beautiful day and I am in paradise. If things continue like this, we're in for a very, very good week.
It's always nice to get off the mark early. It relieves some of the pressure. But to catch one that quick, for it to be over 40 pounds and for it to look like that, well, I was simply in paradise. Looking back on it now, I had no idea about what this trip was about to become.
Well, aside from Alf's incredible mid-40 this morning, not the night we'd really hoped for, we went into it feeling really, really confident. The number of shows last night, I've never really seen anything like it. They're all sort of mid-water over that really, really deep water where it's like 70 to 100 foot. We were confident with the bait we put in, they'd move in, and they did. We started getting liners. Then Alf had his fish, and sadly I did lose one. Sort of just had it on for a second, felt the kick, and then sadly it came off. But then after that, we just had a few more liners, then it sort of went dead, which makes us think we've properly been cleaned out. I mean, we put a lot of bait out there yesterday, especially for English standards, but I mean, I think it's all gone at this point. So we've topped the spot up again. I've been spodding, put sort of like 3 kilos out doing that too. We did have a couple of liners as well, not long after doing that, so I'm hoping they're in the area, but with this sun getting warmer and warmer, you do just think they're gonna get up in that upper layers. So if we do start to see them cruising along the surface, we may sort of change plan. But at the moment, we're gonna see if that bait that we put in brings them into the spot. I'm hoping it does. I mean, there's a lot of bait out there. I've never fished over so much bait, and I just think with that much good quality boilie there, with a lot of hungry fish, it should happen.
Another hot day under the Slovenian sun was passing us by. Although I did manage a small common, my second carp of the trip, the rest of the day was proving uneventful.
It was certainly quiet, and I was really starting to wonder when I was going to get my chance.
Well, about 24 hours after I first got my rods in, I had my first bite where I can feel the fish for more than sort of 2 seconds. And it's taken a lot of line to start with, ripped off out of nowhere. I mean, Alf just had his little common, topped the swim up, probably about half an hour after that, and it's gone. It's taken a lot of line. It's pretty far out at the minute. I've got to say, I'm feeling very nervous. My legs are going a little bit.
As you can probably tell, a little bit wet here where I've just slipped that little common back. And we must be getting to about 5 o'clock, maybe even a little bit later than that. Just cracked open a cold beer. Funnily enough, my first one of this trip. I was trying to remain professional yesterday, you know, get all the fish in, come first. And Henry's right-hand rod, it's one of those bites that you want it to be. It's just gone beep. And the tip, because we can't get a backrest in, fishing relatively loose clutches, heavy leads, and he's now playing. He's playing his carp, and it took a lot of line. So, yeah, this is hopefully, you know, the effort we've put in is starting to pay off. It has only been 24 hours of making out as if I've been here for ages, but we were sitting here all day, just sort of like, oh, hasn't happened, because we know that this lake can do big hits of fish. So the fact that we've just had that bite now is exciting.
Took a lot of line, didn't it?
More bait. Baiting again. We'd finished baiting for like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and Henry got that bite. Unfortunately, it fell off, but I'm sure that is not going to be the last bit of the action. So, seeing as we got that bite so quick, and there's a lot of fish in here, boilies, more boilies back over the top. Keep them here. As we mentioned before, this lake is just a big old bowl that slopes down into some serious depths, and we'll just keep them here, bait and keep them here. That's the plan.
I cracked on with topping up the spot with some squid, whilst Henry retired to the safety of his hide with his towel between his legs.
To say I am devastated about losing that one would be a bit of an understatement, I think. Waited all day, feeling proper disheartened after losing one, and not too much has been going on, and just feeling like there wasn't a lot to do. I've been around the lake in the boat even to see if there's any areas you can move to, sort of stalking, things like that, things that are a bit more suited to my style of angling. I feel like I've worked quite a lot, but for very little return, and then finally you get that run. Feels like a good fish, taking lots of line. I just started to feel like I'd got the upper hand of it as well. It'd gone on some really mad runs. It'd probably gone about an extra 50 yards further than where I'd hooked it. I just started to feel like it'd finished in those longer runs and was coming back, and then it just went. And yeah, what can you do other than get the rod back out, get a bit more bait out? I've had a few liners since then, so I think there's still fish down there. It's just a case of when they pick us up, but yeah, that hurt quite a lot.
As the day faded to night, despite my disappointment with losing that fish, I remained hopeful. Once again, however, it was Alf who had the first bite of the night.
Oh, he's a 40. He's a 40 pounder. I said mid-30. 40 pound, 2. That's, no. Well, look at that. My second Slovenian 40, my third fish, and I'm simply blown away, to be honest. A bit of a cliche, blown away, but it's a really, really surreal atmosphere at the moment. There's a bar just behind me, a bit of a party going on, a live band, and I was playing this Leviathan, if you like. And yeah, it's, you always have to take it with a pinch of salt, what the locals say about ringing that dinner bell, but the fact that every time we spot, no matter how much bait we've got out there already, the fish seem to get on it. What a creature.
Just gone 10 o'clock. Me and Alf had said, let's put one last load of bait in with the dot spods before going to bed, trying to get heads down for a little bit. And 5 spods in, my right hand rod's pulled up. And I'm into my third Slovenian carp. Just hope I can land this one.
First Slovenian carp for Henry Lennon. Yeah!
And it is a 15-pound common.
I reckon it's enough for double, maybe a 20. Whee!
Nice condition though.
Yeah.
Mint
Good
one.
night. No, that's fucking
Sick. Oh, glad to have finally got one there. Very angry, low 20 common, my very first Slovenian carp, and a very good way to end what has been at times quite a frustrating day. Yeah, I lost that one earlier, which felt like quite a good one. Lost the one the night before, seen Alf catch all these amazing big fish. I'm glad to finally get in on the action with a fish to show for it. Off the mark. Nice little personal accolade for me as well. It's my 10th country I've caught a carp from, so a little bit special that for me as well. But yeah, it's just nice to be off the mark, pressure off, fingers crossed for a bigger one.
What came during the early hours was nothing short of mental. A hit of fish like I'd never experienced before. 5 incredible carp with a few over the 40-pound barrier.
Well, there we go, number 1 of that 5 fish hit in the early hours of this morning. Just over the 40-pound barrier. And another incredible Slovenian carp. Blows my mind, this place. We're only on day 3 and I'm having the trip of a lifetime. I've never had a night's fishing like that. Simply incredible. And the better thing is, pretty sure I've got a bigger one in the net, a common. So it's a place that keeps on giving and we're only 3 days in. What a venue.
go time. Right, you know how infamous I am, Alf, for not getting the weight of fish right.
How big do you think it was?
I'm going to say 37.
It is 34.2.
Oh, that's closer than I normally am. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that's your margin of error.
Yeah, that's good, I'm improving.
That's usually £21 when you say that.
Anywhere from 21 to 55 I'd normally get to that at. So yeah, I'll take that. Alfie really showed me how it was done last night with an incredible 5 fish. This is my contribution, not quite as impressive as some of his, but I'll gladly take that after my slow start. The action last night was what we've been preparing for, what we've been hoping for, so for it to finally come through feels really good. We know what we're doing now, I feel, so I'm hoping it just carries on like that from now on in.
I was delighted to have caught my mirror, and it was nice to be involved in some of the action. However, Alf had enjoyed another big hit of fish, topped by a ridiculous common carp.
I thought this was bigger, but we'll see.
What do you reckon?
It's a good one, it's going to be close.
Right, I'll call it. You got another 40? 40, 11, I'd say.
Yeah. So what's that, like 9 ounces? 9 ounces bigger than the last one.
Nice one, man. Good night. That's a mega night.
Oh, this place.
Oh yeah, it does feel heavy.
Cheers, mate. Second 40 of that mad spell. A mirror and a common. This one was just a little bit bigger. I did call it right. And yeah, just another Slovenian Leviathan. And you think they go twice as big as this in there. The fact that there's something that big swimming around in there just blows my mind. Crazy, crazy.
Perfect, isn't it? Like, no marks on it.
Yeah,
Mega fish.
Breeze
Cool
block,
one.
mate.
Breeze block, proper breeze block. Sick one.
Hey.
Things were really going my way. That £40 common was an unbelievable fish, and I felt full of confidence. Now it was a case of staying prepared, being organised, and wading through the fish in search of that personal best. What a night that was, and what a trip it was turning out to be. 4 40s, a whole host of others, and we were only on day 3. This place is unbelievable.
Right, I'm just going to run you through the rig that I've had a couple of bites and successfully landed both of those fish. If you can hear a bit of noise behind me, I don't exactly know how to explain what genre it is. It's quite catchy though, and I'm enjoying it. Well, there's a bar just up next to us, but anyway, I'll do my best to explain the rig. It is the Slip D. I'm not going to bore you too much with it because if you've watched any of our other films, you know exactly what it's all about. It's a rig that I started using thanks to the boys in the office. I know Mikey was probably the first person I spoke to who had lots of success with it. He prefers it with a Fang X style of hook. I really like it with a Fang Twister. I think they both work exceptionally well. So the rig itself, we're fishing over a spread of boilies, and I personally believe that the fish are moving quite quickly between the baits because of the volume that we're putting out. So ideally, I'm going for about 8-9 inches in length. I think that's a nice length as the carp move. There's enough rope to hang themselves with, basically. Not short enough that they're not going to be able to suck it up and the bait's going to be able to go far back, but at the same time, just an ideal length for it to penetrate that bottom lip perfectly. Now, the rig itself, in terms of how to tie it, first of all, I'll start by taking a section of skin link. Now I'm using a size 2 twister in this instance, so the amount that I'm about to strip back all depends on the size of hook you're using. But with a size 2 hook, I strip about 5 inches of coating back. After that, I pass one tag end through the eye of the hook, away from the point, and then pass that tag end back through the hook towards the point, so you're left with a nice loop hanging out the back of the eye. In this instance, I'm using a hook ring swivel and bait floss, so I slide a micro hook ring swivel over that loop before passing the loop over the hook section. At this point, I'm then ready to whip, and I start whipping round the uncoated section until I'm left with about 2 centimetres of uncoated material above the eye. All this does is mean it allows that hook section to be able to move and pivot a little bit easier so it can fly up into their mouth a little bit more effectively. At this point, after I've whipped, sort of knotless knot style, what I'll do is trim the tag end and then cut a section of skin link to my desired length. I'll slide a large kicker down on there, and again, it's exactly the same as a piece of shrink tube, but I don't have to worry about steaming it. It achieves the exact same thing and just makes it turn and catch hold really quickly. Then I'll slide a long anti-tangle sleeve onto the skin link before securing it in place with an overhand loop knot. And that is the rig complete. I'll then steam it straight over the kettle just so everything kicks away from the lead nicely. And that is it, guys. That is exactly how I tie the slip D rig. And when I do get bites, I'm very confident that they're going to often see the back of the net.
There seemed to be a pattern emerging, with the majority of the action, house action that is, coming through the early hours of the morning.
With that in mind, the days were spent prepping and getting ready before resting up with some early morning action on the cards.
Hello, good morning. This is always the way I like to be greeting the camera first thing. Or second thing actually, I think you would have seen me a little bit earlier. The sun has now burnt the majority of the fog off the lake, and just as Henry was spotting over the rods, the rod has ripped off. At first I thought he'd caught the rod with the spod, but that's just how quick you can get the bites. And what I think we've done differently, and it's all been a learning curve to be honest with you, is we've focused on keeping the fish here when we start getting the bites. So we started getting the bites, I don't know what the time was last night, about 10, 11. And since then, Henry, Trooper, has been doing most of the topping up of the spot, and he's just managed to keep the fish here because we're now into the morning and we're still getting bites, which hasn't happened this late into the morning yet. There's one in the net, there's a few in the slings, and one of them is really, really special. Like, I was struggling to get back to sleep after having that just because I was so excited. It's what we came here for. It's a fish, it's my biggest carp ever. Say no more, you'll see it shortly. This one's just gonna wear my arms out so I can't hold it. Hey. Thanks, mate.
Good start to the day.
Perfect start to the day. Glorious.
Only a 30 pounder that one, Alf, I reckon.
Well, this trip really was shaping up to be the session of a lifetime for Alf, with yet another morning's haul, including one truly special carp.
Right, I've just actually got a moment or so to explain to you exactly what's happened over the past 12 hours or so. It's been rather hectic to say the least. So what I'll do, I'll take you back to exactly what happened when we got the first bite, and that was about 9 PM yesterday evening. I was greeted with an exceptional 43-pound common, and just as I thought things couldn't get better, the following bite was a 42-pound common, and then the next one, a 41-pound common, and that was throughout the night. What we kept doing was keeping that spot topped up with bait, let them boilies trickle down through the water and trying to hold the fish, because it was quite evident that there was a lot there, and we wanted to make sure that they weren't getting through the bait and able to move off, and that certainly did the trick, because come the early hours just before first light, I was then greeted with a new personal best in the shape of a 56-pound 7-ounce mirror. You never quite know how big they are. Henry's been on netting duty doing a great job, and I can't really tell where I'm standing how big it is, and he just keeps explaining to me, he's telling how big they are by just how much tail's hanging over the end of the net cord, and it sort of gauge how big they were. So yeah, when I got the head torch down on that one and had a look, it was, yeah, what a fish. Well, there we go. This is what we came to Slovenia for. A new personal best, 56 pounds, 7 ounce, an absolute machine of a carp. It gave me the right run around. Oh, it's hurting my arm so much. I am blown away. This trip just keeps getting better and better and better. Look at that fish.
Alf, as is always just with a PB. Well done. Here's your bucket. Well done, man.
So I think I can go as far as saying that that is the best 12 hours fishing of my life. There's no way I've ever caught that quantity of that large carp in that short space of time. I've never done it before, basically. So I will remember that night and this morning for the rest of my life. And like I say, it's only Sunday at the moment, so if things continue and we can replicate that again today, I don't know what to do. It's a place of dreams, absolute place of dreams.
Well, as I'm sure you can gather, last night was nothing short of crazy. The fish Alf caught, I've never seen anything like it. It was ridiculous. Sadly, I didn't quite get the same amount of action, and I've not so far this session, even though we're fishing the same spot, we're baiting it the same, we're hook baits are the same, rigs are pretty much identical. So I'm a little bit confused as to why I'm not getting the same sort of action as Alf, and obviously a little bit disappointed. I'm very, very happy for Alf. I mean, that 56 pounder he caught, I'm over the moon for him. But yeah, I'd like a little bit of action as well. So I think that perhaps the way the fish are moving in, obviously they're shoal fish, it's clear the way we're seeing them on the drone, the way they're moving, the way we're getting bites, it's very clear that they're shoal fish. I'm thinking that the way they're moving across, they're hitting the left side first, Alf's getting a couple of bites, keeping them with a few spods, and by the time that they've moved onto me, there's not then as many numbers to slip up, and that's why I'm not getting as much action as Alf. That's the only thing I think of. However, I've committed to that spot so much that I can't just abandon it. I was up all night spodding for very little reward, but I feel like I've helped establish it, so I don't want to abandon it just yet. I'm going to do another night on there, but in case the same thing happens again, I think I'm going to have to move off and make my own spot so that I don't have to share the spoils. To say, I know it's a bit selfish, but seeing Alf catch all those amazing fish, I want a piece of that action. So I've gone into the next free swim, that's where I am now, and I'm gonna sort of look around, see if I can find a spot that looks good, maybe put a little bit of bait in preparation for if tonight doesn't go how I hope it's gonna go, to move on to it tomorrow, and hopefully get a night just like Alfie had last night.
Whilst I was busy searching for a solution to my lack of action, on the other hand, however, the action kept coming thick and fast for Alf.
You're getting good at netting carp, Henry.
I'm a pro netter. The best gilly you've ever had.
Number
Well
16.
done. Hard work here. Lots of bait. Nice one over there.
$35 on the nose.
Yes, Alf, you're right.
Pretty much becoming a case of net and repeat at the minute, if I'm honest. Just had that lovely 35-pound comment. I mentioned how even though I've had quite a lot of commons this trip, that one was just something special, like darker, white belly. It was perfect timing, really. Got him in the water, got him in the sling, and the waders on, did the photos, got back, just started tying more rigs. And those incredible one-toner takes just keep coming. I'd say one every 45 minutes at the moment in the day, which is nice. And this feels all right again. There's not too much head shaking. Doesn't feel too bad. Oh, Henry. Double take. I heard that and Henry was just stood there. You just stood there. I did get it wrong about the size. He is a little bit little. One of them scrappy ones.
You have no idea how happy this makes me. I don't think I've slept since yesterday afternoon. I feel like I've just spodded constantly since. And Alfie has been smashing it up. And I'm fishing A metre away from him, same rigs, same bait. Just can't get a bite. Until now. Absolutely ripped off. I forgot to turn my alarm on. It really shows how tired I was. And I'm just spotting here, and then all of a sudden Alfie goes, Henry, I think you might be in, and I look down and my clutch is just screaming. Doesn't feel like the biggest fish, but I'll take anything right now.
Yeah. Just unhook this one in the margin. He's only a little one. I'm going to get him straight back because obviously you're in numbers.
Whee.
Got him?
Oh. Get it in there. Right. As I was just saying to Alf, it seems like we need to maximise it now because I think they're on us. So I'm just going to plug this, get a rod back out, and then we'll sort it out properly. Next level relief. I was really starting to think I'd been cursed or something. I put on some witch's curse. I just didn't understand how I wasn't getting more bites. Like, Alfie just could not keep a rod in the water since yesterday evening. And we're doing the same thing.
Spodding was becoming second nature to me on this trip, but topping up after landing a carp, well, that was new.
I feel like a new man, really. It had been hard, and I think the cameraman would agree with me when I said it was putting me in a bit of a strange mood. Tony said to me yesterday, I think you're going crazy. He saw me up at 4 AM, just sort of like staring out. I'd taken a break from spodding. But now, I'm not the crazy one, because I've caught a 20-pound common. Well, it's not going to be the most spectacular fish you see today. That's because Al's been absolutely tearing it up. In fact, I think he's into one right now. He's in the process of wiping everyone's lines out, but fair play to him, he can do it with the amount he's caught. However, I've got to say, this little common has absolutely made my day. It's been pretty tough going for me. I don't know why. I'm hoping it's going to improve, but for now, just going to appreciate the beautiful setting, this cool little common.
A nice confidence booster there for Henry. Whilst Henry dealt with his carp, I'd managed another 3 in quick succession.
And that rounds the tally up to 20. It's been a very, very busy day. As I've mentioned earlier with the other fish, today's just completely different. They're well on the feed. We're keeping them in the swim with a dot spot, constantly trickling boilies over their head. And yeah, this low 30 just proves that that method is so, so effective. And as well as that, I've also got another 2 behind me, including right colourful character.
It was turning out to be another eventful day, with Alf at the forefront of the action yet again. But I held on to the hope that it would eventually come good for me.
Alf's just doing some photos of his fish. He's caught another 30-pound mirror, a couple of nice commons, and a really cool gold koi thing that he's doing photos of now. And I've had an absolute one-toner, still taking line. Just been spotting for sort of like 25, 30 minutes, stopped, start tying some rigs, and I hadn't even sort of taken my first bit of skin link off the spool, and it's ripped off again. I really think we've cracked it now. Watch it be a catfish. That's not what we want.
Quite like this before, and I'm really happy to say that he's going to be in my photo album now. I knew there was a few of them present in this lake, and well, I was hoping it was only a matter of time, and it I cannot believe the power of a fish this size. It must have taken 50, 60 yards of line. I was convinced I was attached to one of the real big ones, but when this popped up, I was super happy anyway. He's a real cool one, a right carrot. And yeah, I'm glad I've managed to have one of the koi's out of this lake.
This is nice, isn't it? Waves coming in, catching during the day. That's a lump. That's really big. That's massive, isn't it? That's big.
It's all right.
That's really big, isn't it? I just saw its head pop up and the shoulders.
PB?
I think that's a PB. Bring it round. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, that's massive.
That's huge, isn't it?
That's massive.
Yes!
Well done. When his head come up.
Yeah, mate, I shut myself a little bit.
I was like, I'm going to get in for that. I'm just going to get his close.
I was so, yeah, I was so, thank you.
I was like, I could just tell that weren't.
Yes! I think I might have finally beaten the PB I've had since I was about 16 years old. As you can see from this session, Alf's been smashing it and I've struggled and I've not really been able to work out why, because we're pretty much fishing we're fishing side by side, we're baiting the same spot, we're fishing pretty much identical rigs, slight alterations, but slip Ds, same hook baits, and Alf's been catching tons and I've been scratching for bites. And Curly just noticed that the way that we're hitting the clip is a little bit different. So there's probably like a half a rod length difference in accuracy in where we're reaching. So I put an extra half a wrap on my rod, and about 5 minutes later it's torn off. And after a pretty manic battle where I thought it was just one of the hyper 20-pound commons in here, seen a massive head just break the surface. My legs have started going, I started shaking a bit. Alf's clocked it as well, and thank God he's gone out as far as he could in his waders to net it. And I've got a pretty big carp in that sling over there. And I don't really know what else to say. I'm shaking a little bit. I never really get like this, but I've worked very hard for the past 36 hours. I've not slept. I was up all last night spodding. Even after Alf went to bed and reeled in because it got too much for him, I just kept going because I just wanted a bit of the action that he had. And yeah, I've got a little bit of it now. So, result. What I wanted from Slovenia, a new PB, I really thought this lake could do it, and it looks like it has. Now watch it come in at 43 pounds and actually break my PB after bigging it up, but I'm pretty sure it's going to do it.
So you picked it hard enough.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
£50.
No way.
2 ounces.
Really?
50 pounds, 2 ounces.
That's
It's a
50. No way.
Yeah.
I thought it might have
Mate,
touched
I thought it was
When
just
you were
under.
smiling,
Look.
When you were smiling, I thought you were going to go, yeah, it's actually 43. We have to do all the interviews and everything again.
Yes. It just went like that, and all of a sudden it settled and it went the other side of 50.
52.
Well done, mate.
Oh, that is just madness. As soon as I saw it, everything come up from it, I was like, that is a big fish. When its shoulders hit the surface, I don't even know what to say. I'm just saying words at the minute. Look at the size of that. Oh, I really don't know what to say. Like, everyone who knows me knows I'm not really a big fish angler, but I still love catching big fish. And this has absolutely smashed my long-standing PB that I've had for about 8 years. First 50, I'm lost for words, and just such a small change to making sure that accuracy was bang on. Thanks to Curly, who sort of clocked that me and Alfie were just hitting the clip differently, and yeah. 10 minutes after recasting the rod, it goes, epic fight, and this is going to live with me for a while, this memory, with all the boys out here. Yeah, incredible. Yeah, come on in, man. Some trip in it.
Mad, mate.
It had finally come good. After that slow start where I was playing spectator to Alf, I really didn't believe that I would be cradling one of these Slovenian monsters for myself. After an 8-year wait, I finally had a new PB and my first ever 50-pounder. It's moments like this that we go fishing for. Well, we did it, Alf. We both landed our new PBs. We achieved what we came here to do, and we still have a few days to go.
Yeah, you're right there, mate. That was a day to remember. Who knows what could happen if things continue like this?
It's a big fish. Oh. You wait 8 years for a new PB and then you get 2 in the space of 18 hours.
Henry had cracked it. Another PB, followed by 2 40-pound mirrors. Things were finally starting to click for him.
This place is just another level.
It was me this time making up the numbers to round up the morning's haul with a brace of 40-pound commons. Not bad at all. It's always nice when you can get that lovely brace shot with your mate after having a fantastic few days fishing. It was getting to that time though where I fancied trying something new.
Right, now what I'm holding in my hands looks like a monstrosity to the everyday English angler, shall we say. But what it is, it's a way of getting around trying to fish for them mid-water here. Zigs are banned, surface fishing's banned, and you're not allowed a section essentially longer than 50 centimetres, which we call your hook link, or the trace in which they refer to it in the rules over here. So, and again, I didn't invent this, I didn't come up with this. This is some advice from our friends who have fished the lake before. This is a 4.5 ounce boat machine. That's just essentially to hold water, get the rig out there at the distance too. And then I'm actually fishing it running style. So I'm fishing it inline, and then what happens is when I cast out, I've got a short, small rubber bead there, a couple of split shots, and then that is an 18mm boilie, but because of the weight of the line, that sinks ever so slowly. So basically the float hits the water, this starts sliding, and then I spot over the top as this boilie ever so slowly starts falling through the water column like that. The idea being it's mimicking the free offerings that are falling out the dot spot, and if there's a pack of fish out there, apparently they nail 18mm boilies. I'm using a zig screw as well. Apparently they nail them as the food's falling down, which is absolutely crazy. If you'd said that to me, I wouldn't have believed you, but I've seen the video footage. I'm gonna try it for myself. Will it work? Who knows, but I'm gonna give it a go. Back. Yeah, that goes too quick. Right, let's see if it sinks. I'll bring it up to there. Yeah, 100%. Oh, that's the one, mate. Oh, did that just go then? Yeah, it is. Yes.
It's worked.
Hey,
It worked.
it worked. Only gone and worked, isn't it? That monstrosity of a, well, it looks like a monstrosity to anyone back in England, I'd imagine. I've just tinkered with getting that boilie to sink ever so slowly, landed the dot spot with some pellet just sinking, and as I was spodding, the line just picked up and went. It shocked me a little bit because that's crazy, and I've hooked my first ever carp on a zig screw with a 20mm scope screw bottom bait to the back of it, float fishing on a 4.5 ounce bolt machine. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, he's orange. Oh, he's big.
He's very orange.
He's big and orange. Caught him, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he is big.
Yes, I did it.
Big. You did
I did
do
it on the
it, yeah.
unconventional super duper alien
Fair
monstrosity.
play. I didn't think that was going to work. He's a nice one. He's bigger than your other.
He's bigger than the other one, isn't he? Is that colourful enough for you? I didn't expect this thing to pop up. I've had one already a little bit smaller, but that crazy float fishing method that I just showed you a short while ago, didn't actually expect it to work that quickly. I almost thought I was flogging a dead horse, but the fact when I saw that bolt machine just drift away, and then after a short fight, this fella was on the end. 30-pound koi. Some people like them, some people don't, but I certainly do. And when they look like this, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like them.
Whilst Alf was hooked on this altered floatfish method, I headed into town to her apartment for a much needed refresh. I also couldn't help but take a wander along the banks of the river that runs through the town. Whilst on my walk, I couldn't help but wonder how Alf was doing and whether he was still stuck to that float rod.
Hey!
Coming up. They come up as soon as that spot hits the water, they're coming for it. Oh my god! He's just come up and flank. 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in.
I've just put that rather large koi back, 30-pounder, and I've just repeated the process with what I wasn't too confident going into doing it. I just knew that it did work. I felt a little bit out of my depth because it was so sort of a bodge job, you know, just trying a sliding bolt machine and everything, but boy, does it work. I've just casted it out, the dot spots hit the water. Brad's got the drone up trying to get some footage and he just went, I can see him taking a bait. And the next one I know, my rod's just gone zzz, like that. And I had it in the clip because I wanted to make sure, because I'm gonna have to keep recasting because the wind's taking it so slightly, but lesson learned, don't keep it in the clip because that was nearly seconds from disaster. But I'm catching these on 20mm boilies screwed to the back of a large zig screw. Float fished. Might try that down the syndicate when I get back. Another really, really good looking carp. Another sort of semi-linear, and that was the second fish that fell to that crazy float fishing method, and I was just getting settled into that. That was 2 fish in pretty much 2 casts, and just as it was happening, as you can see from behind me, the wind has got mental and made it almost impossible to accurately get the float in the right position, not have it drift and spot over it. So we'll be doing that again this evening or tomorrow morning, whatever happens first for the wind to die down, because that was super, super productive. But another super special Slovenian carp on the list.
Just come into the local town to go to the apartment we've been renting for a very much needed shower, and we've come across this river that runs through the middle of it. Well, I was aware of this river, but with the potential of the lake we have been fishing so sort of prominent in my mind, we never really gave this river much attention. But after speaking to Frank, who's sort of the local expert for the area, and listening to his stories of the fish he's caught, him showing me a few pictures, pointing out a few spots, as well as the setting that we're in, it makes me think that we've got to fish here. Like, where can you fish in the world like this and be fishing for massive river carp? I can't think of anywhere that I've ever fished before. So for me, we've got to fish here.
It certainly took a bit of persuading, but with Henry's stories of this amazing river, I soon agreed on a move. But the plan, with the way things were going, was to see out our last night on this crazy lake to see what it could offer on our final night.
We sat back, chilled, took it all in, and reminisced on the days that had passed, hoping for much of the same on our final night at the lake.
Last night was the last night at this incredible lake, and although the action wasn't as crazy as it has been in the past couple of nights in terms of the number of fish, the big fish did move in again. Alfie's had a mega one, and I've had yet another 50-pounder, another PB. I'm just lost for words. 55 pound, 2 ounce, huge mirror carp. Just had the most insane boat battle for it. It took loads of line from the off, mad take, sort of lifted into it, just stripping line. We took about 60, 70 yards of line that kited left, went all the way around and actually snagged me up, which is, with it being so deep, you don't think that they're going to snag you, but it did. It locked up solid, and I thought, right, out in the boat. So I'm out in the boat late at night, mist rising. This huge carp, I managed to get it free, and it's just plodding around, and it's straining, holding the rod, and it's bent over, the tip eyes in the water. Eventually, this huge shape comes up in the net, come back to the bank, show Alf, 55 pound. I've lost the words with this place. It is just next level. I don't want to leave, but knowing that the river is as special as it is the only thing that's sort of making me want to go. But if we did end up staying here for a couple more nights, I wouldn't complain. But for now, let's go check out that ridiculous mirror carp. Look at the size of that. The result of last night's epic boat battle in the mist, pulling it from the bottom away from snags. And this was on the end. I can see why it beasted me so much. I mean, just look at the size of it. Look at the wrist on its tail. Incredible fight, incredible fish, and an end to an incredible session at this incredible lake. Just mind-blowing. The stock, the setting, the way you got to fish for them. I mean, you've seen Alfie fishing the float method. We've been catching them over big beds of bait, things like this. You're just so not used to our style of fishing, but we've adapted, we've reaped the rewards, and the rewards are just insane.
That is without a doubt the most incredible, crazy, mental 5 days fishing. Well, not just fishing, probably in my life that I've ever had. And that might sound a little bit over the top, but this is a passion for a lot of people. It's a passion for me. So to experience something like that, I'm almost getting goosebumps talking about it, to be honest. It was just absolutely fantastic. I'd love to stay, but at the same time, Henry has been talking about this river that's only down the road with this massive church in the background, and it's a little bit different, and I'm not afraid to admit that I've never caught a river carp. It's not generally a bit of me. So the fact that that's on the cards, also the fact that there's a really big river carp on the cards, it's just more incentive to just go explore this lovely part of the world, go check out a little bit more of Slovenia, and see what it has to offer. But I think me and the lads, we're gonna go up to the bar at the end of the lake now, maybe have a nice cold beer, something to eat, rejuvenate a little bit, and then get all the gear in the van, get it all sorted, head down to the river for another 2 nights. So let's see what it brings.
We took the short drive through the town to the river spot and what would be our last 48 hours in Slovenia.
What an incredible little river it was, and one I was excited to fish, having never caught a river carp, and what a place it would be to change that.
After a brief look around, we settled on our chosen swims. I chose the church side.
And I chose to have the mountains as my backdrop.
I went about finding some spots. In my unconventional way, and with the help of Curly and the baiting pole, I dropped one rig alongside the wall of the church. The other with the use of the bait boat on the bend of the river.
I, on the other hand, opted to keep it simple, fishing 2 slip D rigs into 2 holes that were nice and clean in amongst the pads. A few handfuls of Scopex squid, and I was ready for the night ahead.
My hard work clearly paid off as I caught a small trademark common through the hours of darkness. Not the monster we had heard of, but a welcome reward and a very good sign indeed.
It was simply a stunning morning on the river, made all that bit sweeter by the fact that I had a carp, a river carp, waiting in the sling. I was ecstatic.
Well, if you had told me that my first river carp would have been from the middle of some southern town in Slovenia with a backdrop like this, I never ever would have believed you. So the fact that I'm cradling this awesome looking mirror carp at the moment is just unbelievable. Again, it's the place that keeps on giving. Yeah, first ever river carp. Another sort of angling achievement ticked off the list, to be honest with you. And I really do not want to go home. This place is just so amazing. It's just unbelievable.
After Alf's first river carp, the day passed quietly. The rods were redone and the traps reset. It was now just a waiting game. And we waited. The sun was at its highest and a bite didn't look likely at all. Before I knew it, I was in the boat and doing battle with another Slovenian river carp. I was just hoping that this one was going to be a little bit bigger.
It's a 12-pound common toad. What else would you expect from me to catch? There we go. Normality has resumed. I'm back to catching 15-pound commons. Bit of a trademark for me. I am very happy with this one though. Bit of a bite out the blue on the rod that was placed along on the bend in the river. Had to go out in the boat to get it. He weeded me up a couple of times. Both spots have done bites now, so I'm feeling very confident going into the night. I'm really hoping I can end this trip with a big river carp in front of that church. That would just be the perfect ending to what has been the perfect trip.
Our time in this beautiful country was coming to a close. With a carp apiece from the river, we decided to put our carp rods down and watch a float amongst the pads, surrounded by this incredible environment.
Obviously catching PBs was definitely a highlight, but was it the absolute highlight? A different one?
I think really that PB for me came relatively early in those few days, and it was still as incredible as I could ever have imagined. But I reckon the most exciting part for me was when I nailed that surface fishing.
Yeah,
it was Brad. It was Brad on the drone, to be fair, when he had the drone above it, and we sort of expected them to be taken on the drop, and then all of a sudden he's just gone, look, there's carp underneath it. And I reckon 2 seconds after he said that, the bolt machine just went flying under. It was almost like
that was incredible.
It isn't a myth. It was almost as if like it was a myth.
Because we'd seen it, hadn't we?
We've seen it from the Germans. So like, and I looked at that and thought that was a little bit. He's missed it. That was a little bit. Don't know what the word to explain.
But I know what you mean. Like we'd seen it happen, but I still didn't believe it was going to happen until I saw you do it.
It's just so out the box and untidy, but yeah, it worked. But
agricultural.
Yeah, that's probably the best word to describe it. But I wish I had a little bit more time doing that, but the conditions have to be spot on. But again, I'm just sort of still sat here, just like glowing from the past few days. But
yeah, it's been crazy.
What about you, your 50s? Well, actually, to be fair, you couldn't have done it any better because your PB you caught 350s, but they went up.
They got bigger, yeah.
They went bigger. It's not as if you got the bigger and went smaller, so it was almost a...
I was talking about this earlier with Curly. It was like the first 50 was probably my favourite because first ever 50, broke a PB that I had for ages, like 8 years, something like that. I've had that PB, and then the second one, I just thought that common was perfect, like not scale wrong with it. And then the last one, that boat battle. I said to you, didn't I, as soon as we arrived, I'd love a big boat battle. And then to have that boat battle for that last fish, and then it'd be a PB again, it was just, all three of them were so special. Yeah.
I didn't think you'd get it either when you said boat battle on a 98-acre lake with not many snags, and you ended up going through matey swimming about 40 yards down the bank. You managed to do it. I'm half convinced that you sort of went, yeah, you can go down there, mate. You keep going, I'll get the boat.
Let it run.
Oh.
They're here. No, definitely one of my best fishing trips ever.
Oh, there's no question about it. That's been one of the most unbelievable fishing experiences I don't know how you beat that. I don't know how, if you put something down on paper now, like if you could write how you would beat that, the only thing I can think of is that, but with bigger carp and more time doing that surface fishing. Like,
We'll have to come back.
Oh mate, 100%.
Yeah, I'm up for coming back.
Although I can't catch a roach at the minute, so maybe I need to reassess.
That would be the perfect ending. Not a roach, but a nice big river carp. I'm gutted about that one I lost. I said, oh, but this is about to make up for it. A 4-ounce roach. Whoa, hey.
I bet you're cheating.
1-0.
I think I've had one bite in about 10 minutes.
You know, any bites, don't lie. Good angling.
Thank you.
Obviously, first time river fishing, although there's not much flow at the minute, so you're basically just fishing how you'd fish a lake, to be honest, but how have you found it? Enjoyed it?
To have your first river carp with that as a backdrop,
Yeah, special.
you're not going to beat that, really, are you?
special.
Like, it's just a memory. Like, I'll take that to my deathbed, which would be in 10 minutes if I don't catch a roach.
Oh, didn't they? We should just go back to the bear lake,
Riggy,
catch the carp.
Hang on.
Well, I'm hoping the film goes down well, so we can have an excuse to go out and do a few more of these trips, because as work weeks go, this is a pretty good one.
Yeah, can you imagine if we drove 19 hours, turned up, didn't catch anything, got back home and spoke to Nashy. How'd it get on, lads? We've got some free beers from the bar.
Yeah, but we
Had
blanked
a nice
Kev.
apartment, spent a lot of money on toll roads, but there's no YouTube video.
I think it'd be like, right, you two stick to the social media. You're in the office for the next year.
Oh, hang on. Oh,
Yes!
that's a PB.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Oh, stuck in the pads, that is a really good one. Jesus.
Oh.
That's a well nice one.
Yeah. You see, it might take a while.
I've got it. You're playing the specimen game. Like, there's your roach.
Unfortunately, we didn't get our dream ending with a carp in front of that beautiful church, but it didn't matter. It was a session of a lifetime for both Alfie and me, and one that made that long old journey back to England a much more bearable one.